Hey there, and welcome to HisTime365. I'm so glad you're here for day 84 of our 365-day journey through the Bible. Today, we'll look at 2 Samuel 4 through 7, and I'll walk you through what happens, what it means, and why it matters. I'll share a summary and some insights to help you see the big picture and connect with the heart of the scripture. During your quiet time, I encourage you to read today's lesson in a Bible translation that speaks to you best. Now grab a quiet moment, take a deep breath, and let's spend a few minutes giving God His time. The rise of David, a new king, and God's covenant. Imagine a world where betrayal and conflict are commonplace. Yet amidst this chaos, a leader arises who's destined to unite a fractured nation. In the chapters of 2 Samuel 4 through 7, we witness the dramatic rise of David as he becomes king, not just over Judah, but eventually over all Israel. This story reveals themes of loyalty, divine promise, and the importance of seeking God's will in our lives. As we delve into these chapters, we begin with the aftermath of King Saul's death. The news of Saul's demise causes a ripple effect throughout the land. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, is proclaimed king over Israel by Abner, the commander of Saul's army. 2 Samuel 4:2. However, his reign is marked with weakness and instability, reflecting the division among the tribes. David, on the other hand, has been anointed by God, and he rules in Hebron over Judah for 7 years and 6 months. 2 Samuel 2:11. The tension escalates as Abner seeks to strengthen his position, but a shocking betrayal unfolds. Joab, David's commander, harbors a long-standing grudge against Abner for the loss of his brother, Asahel. In a move fueled by vengeance, Joab strikes down Abner, which leads to further complications. 2 Samuel 3:30. David, heartbroken over Abner's fate, publicly mourns for him, proclaiming, "I am this day weak, though anointed king." 2 Samuel 3:39. This moment highlights David's humility and his desire for peace rather than conflict. Following Abner's death, the power dynamics shift. Ishbosheth's rule collapses as he loses the support of his followers. 2 of his captains, Baanah and Reshab, decide to take matters into their own hands. They bring about Ishbosheth's end in his own bed, believing they will gain favor with David by bringing them this news. 2 Samuel 4:7. However, their plan backfires, as David punishes them for their betrayal, declaring that he would not tolerate harm against the Lord's anointed. 2 Samuel 4:11. This action reinforces David's character as a king who seeks justice and righteousness. With Ishbosheth gone, David is finally anointed as king over all Israel at the age of 30. 2 Samuel 5:4 through 5. This moment is significant not just for David, but for the nation itself, as it symbolizes a new beginning. The tribes come together, unified under David's leadership, showing that even in times of division, there is hope for reconciliation. David establishes Jerusalem as the capital, calling it the City of David, a strategic choice that symbolizes his desire to unite his people. In the next chapter, we see David's fervor for God as he brings the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. 2 Samuel 6:2. The Ark represents God's presence among his people, and David is eager to have it in his new capital. As he dances before the Lord with all his might, his joyful worship contrasts sharply with Michal, his wife, who looks on with disdain. 2 Samuel 6:16. This scene reflects the importance of genuine worship and the joy that comes from being in the presence of God, even when others may not understand or appreciate it. However, Michal's criticism reveals a deeper issue. It highlights the tension between personal faith and societal expectations. David responds to her with humility, acknowledging that he will become even more undignified in his worship, emphasizing that his focus is on pleasing God rather than conforming to cultural norms. 2 Samuel 6:22. This interaction serves as a reminder for us in our daily lives. How often do we hold back our expressions of faith because we fear judgment from others? In the final chapter of our reading, God establishes a covenant with David through the prophet Nathan. God promises that David's lineage will endure forever, ultimately leading to the Messiah, 2 Samuel 7:16. This promise is monumental, not just for David, but for all of humanity, as it foreshadows God's plan for salvation through Jesus Christ. David's response to this revelation is one of deep humility and gratitude. He recognizes the greatness of God and his own unworthiness, leading him to offer a beautiful prayer of thanksgiving. 2 Samuel 28:19-29. As we reflect on these chapters, let's consider how they apply to our modern lives. Leadership and responsibility. Just like David, we all have roles in our families, workplaces, and communities. How we lead, whether with humility, integrity, or a sense of justice, shapes those around us. In a work setting, being a leader means making decisions that reflect our values, standing up for what's right, and fostering unity among our team members. Handling betrayal. David's response to betrayal can teach us about forgiveness and justice. When faced with betrayal in our relationships, whether at work or among friends, we can choose to respond with grace rather than vengeance. This doesn't mean ignoring the hurt, but seeking to resolve conflicts in a way that reflects our values. Worship and joy. David's joy in worship prompts us to think about our own expressions of faith. In our digital lives, we often curate images of ourselves that may not reflect our true selves or our relationship with God. Embracing authenticity in our faith and worship, even when it feels uncomfortable, can lead to a more fulfilling spiritual life. 4. God's promises. Just as God made a covenant with David, we can find comfort in his promises to us. Whether in times of uncertainty regarding our finances or our mental health, remembering that God is faithful can help us navigate challenges with hope and confidence. Takeaway. In every season of life, embrace God's presence and his promises, allowing them to guide your actions and your heart. How can we apply David's humility and leadership style in our own lives? What does it mean for you to worship God joyfully, regardless of others' opinions? How can we better handle betrayal in our relationships, following David's example? Thanks so much for joining me today for HisTime365. Remember, today's reading is 2 Samuel 4-7, so be sure to spend some time with those verses during your quiet time. Tomorrow, we'll be diving into 2 Samuel 8-10, so feel free to read ahead if you'd like to prepare. If you enjoyed this time together, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss a day on this journey. I'll see you back right here tomorrow for day 85. Until then, stay encouraged, and thank you for giving God his time today.